what do you think when you think investor? Me personally, I hear busy person that has a business traditionally, or maybe, a high-paying corporate America job. They're like, listen, we have this money in the bank. We have zero time to be able to even think about learning another trade, let alone real estate. The one thing that we heard a lot, I guess, from like a lot of our Canadian brethren, like, up in Toronto and Ontario, that they're like, hey, we have an X, Y, and Z business, and I have 50,000 here, 100,000 here. Here's the return that I'm looking for, right? And it was very interesting to hear where different people were coming from, and also some of the returns that they were getting.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Real Estate Roundtable with MRTG Capital. My name is Tom Goodge, and as always, I'm joined with my friend and business partner, Mr. Mike Rohm. How's it going, brother?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing great. Yeah, so today we're going to use this as almost a session, we'll say, for us to kind of break down, our past few days that we had together. Right. So some of you may or may not know, depending on our friends and family circle, but we just recently did a road trip up to New York. Actually, really, it was New Jersey. It was destination said New York, but then we ended up in New Jersey next to the stadium. But we made a 6-hour road trip to go meet with investors, potential investors, in addition to peers in our field, business owners. And then in addition to that, this event, primarily meant to just meet investors and things of that nature, also had some great speakers along with it, a couple of billionaires, a lot of high 9-figure individuals as well. And it was an awesome time.
Absolutely.
So we just want to use this time, let's use this time to do what we would have done without the screen, because I think it'll be beneficial for everyone listening. So we just want to kind of brain dump and what were our key takeaways? What were some big items?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why don't you kick us off and, give a little bit about the event? And
yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, there was a lot of other investors, other people in our field, other investors who are doing things like we're doing, investors who are doing things a little bit differently. Maybe they have a different avenue. We're multifamily rentals. Some people are in the commercial space of rentals. Just a wide variety of investors, other people doing like we're doing, and other people who just want to place their money somewhere. So they want the returns. They don't want to do the work. They just want to get those returns in a safe manner. So they want to invest in real estate without doing all the work.
That's right. It's interesting, right? Because a lot of times, like, you see us coming to you, right? And we're talking about real estate syndication, and, it's our job to evangelize deals that we have and to bring investors together. And, for us, in particular, right, you hit on that, we're on the general partner side of the house. The syndication has two sides: the general partners, or the active investors, the ones who are sourcing the deals, doing all the work behind the scenes and after the fact as well. And then you have the limited partners, those who are passive investors, who are saying, hey, listen, I have $100,000. I have $500,000 that is sitting in the bank losing money. I want to be able to put it in a safe investment like real estate and, have you guys do the work, and make me a good return. And that is, I think, one unsung hero, like for us especially, right? We love underwriting deals. We love doing all of that. The hard part, I think, for everybody is finding all of those like-minded individuals who will invest, so that, it's one thing that if we have a $6 million deal, if we only have one person who has $100,000 to invest, we can't do the $6 million deal.
Right.
And then events like this in particular allow us to get the whole picture, to be able to find the rest of the pie, so to speak, to make it so that we can actually get the $6 million asset.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's what it comes down to. Those people, those investors were interviewing us as much as we were interviewing them. Did we want to do business with them? How did we do our business? So it was full circle, which was great because, again, we've learned techniques and tactics from others as well that are in this space doing it. Maybe they're in, other southern states. Maybe they're in Canada. We had other folks from out of the country as well that just giving us some of their tips. There were items we were telling them about that they had no idea. So it's just really kind of, it was a networking event, but it was also brainstorming with others. So, we absolutely brought some items home to to start utilizing, which that's what it was. Like you said, like-minded people able to share. We're all in the same business. We're competitors, but there's more than enough deals out there to go after that nobody was holding back, which was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who may not know as well, a little, we'll say a peek behind the scenes or what have you. So you may hear in this episode and for a few more episodes, some very loud puppies. There we go. Right. So right now, this podcast studio is in an 8-stall horse barn. So it's this big, massive barn that we're on the end of the horse stalls right before you get to the big garage area. And it was a very unique thing that we did. It was pretty cool. However, once you throw in some of the neighbors with some, that are very lousy, very noisy, you end up with that. So just as a heads up, oh, good, we have some puppies out there. But no, you hit on something that I want to say as well. So us going up there, right? Like, we're there with people looking to grow their business as well.
Yep.
Like, so for example, like when we say investors, right? Most investors, what do you think when you think investor? Me personally, I hear busy person that has a business traditionally, or maybe, a high paying corporate America job. They're like, listen, we have this money in the bank. We have zero time to be able to even think about learning another trade, let alone real estate. And that's what we saw a lot up there, right? We had, when you talked about people from different countries, there was actually 73 different countries represented in that room. It was insane.
Absolutely.
We're networking with Chinese nationals that were in Australia, and then German nationals who were in China. It was absolutely awesome. And the one thing that we heard a lot, I guess, from like a lot of our Canadian brethren, like, up in Toronto and Ontario, that they're like, hey, we have an X, Y, and Z business, and I have 50,000 here, 100,000 here. Here's the return that I'm looking for. Right. And it was very interesting to hear.
An absolute great time spent. There was, again, investors, there was other people, other real estate investors. Like you said, whenever you think of an investor, we're on both sides of it. We're the ones seeing them source the deals. Maybe they're putting up some of their money, or there's people who have the money and they just want to park it. So investor is used in both ways. And that's where we were meeting people on both sides.
That's right. And very interesting, back to the concept of being able to get enough investors to fund a deal, right? Because ultimately, the reason why, we want to make sure that, our company gets out there as much as possible and have, as many people as possible know who we are, so that we can have a very never ending string of investors that are out there. And one of the topics that was covered, during this, this networking event was branding. Right. And something that, obviously we're focusing on very much so, because once again, back to the whole, hey, if we only have 3 people with $100,000, that's not going to go very far. Right. And, for those of you who are saying, well, I would love $100,000. Well, many people have 50,000 to invest or what have you. But point being is, you need a lot of like-minded individuals looking to make a great return on their, their money. and a safe investment to be able to
Right.
make that happen. And so they talked about branding, and I would say the most left field thing was probably kind of in the very beginning, was meeting and hearing from Sergio
Yep.
and Carolyn from the Real Housewives of Dubai.
Yep.
I don't know how many of you out there watch the Real Housewives of Dubai, but the last thing that I thought would be sitting in a room learning how to network, and learning how to brand ourselves from them specifically.
Right.
And that's one that is absolutely wild, but they're business geniuses. And to be able to hear some of the things that Carolyn and her processes, because ultimately her things is exactly the same as Sergio's, right? They are a brand, and their brand also, the whole point of it is to attract investors, to have the investors make great returns on their money. They just so happen to leverage their platform of that show to be able then to network and then to get the deals in the business. But it's no different than actually what we do. We're just not doing a reality TV show, which there are times where I swear we should.
Yeah.
Right. For
it'll come, that or a book. There's gonna be the characters that we've met over the years, tenants and whoever. So yeah, absolutely. It's a thought.
So I know we'll keep this one short, because I'll even do another podcast episode with you to continue this brain dump.
Yeah.
But so obviously branding was very important. Being able to raise capital is very important. But we had so many different people at this event, so many different successful people. But what was one person that left a lasting impression on you from the event, and why?
So the main one for me would have been Dean.
Dean Adler.
Dean Adler. So he had 90,000 units. That just sounds insane. 90,000 units.
That's right.
Over $25 billion worth of real estate. So this is, whatever. It's hard to comprehend that. Whenever we're looking at syndication deals, they're 20 to 100 units, whatever it may be. 90,000. You know how long that's taken to build that in dollar wise? $25 billion. Like, that's just crazy. But, whenever we're talking syndication deals, like, that's the goal. It's not just, hey, go do this 50 units and then maybe you do one more. The goal is long term. Like, this is multiple syndication deals after each other. You find it, you source it, you move on. It's the life cycle of the real estate syndication. So he was going over, a little bit differently, but he was going over the life cycle of the market. Recently, about every 10 years, it goes through a cycle. We remember 2008. This started in 2019, 2020. With COVID, prices went up and everything. Now we're seeing the decline on it, but it's short lived. So if you go back in time, every 10 years, they say, is a real estate cycle. And that's kind of what we're in the middle of right now. So we saw it coming. We're in the middle of it. We're looking at the other end. And his big thing, his big message was, we're going to come out, on the other side of it very shortly. This is the time to be looking for deals, sourcing deals, getting those under, because you have the sellers who are panicking. Maybe they need their cash, whatever it may be. And then you have the people who's been preparing for this. And that's why we've been underwriting, looking for it where you can source a good deal. So his message was kind of be ready. We're in the middle of this. Everybody's been talking about it for a while. Now it's the time to find those. Sellers want to get creative with how they exit their investment. This is where a lot of people close to retirement are starting to see, all right, this is maybe the second or third cycle they're on. They're just ready to sell and retire, so kind of
That's
be
right.
ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and my takeaway was exactly the same, right? He was like, hey, when there's blood in the streets, that is the time to invest. We've heard that so many times as real estate investors. And it's very interesting, to be living through that, especially in recent years, right? I mean, because the last time you really saw that, was in the 2008 timeframe, right? And here we are again. And it's one of those things when, things are going great and interest rates are low and it seems like you can't, swing and miss on a deal.
Right.
Like, will those times ever come again? Who knows? Sure enough, like clockwork, here it is again.
Yep.
But even though we have to underwrite a ton of deals, so that we could come up with one that works for our investors, and especially now, right? Like, it's, when you're looking at, the internal rate of return, over the lifespan, what it looks, like for a good return right now, the percentage points may be a little lower, but the big takeaway there is, once again, hey, listen, this is a very finite amount of time. If you're able to find a deal that can cash flow, make the investors, a suitable return, right? 7, 8, 9%, on their money, it's safe.
Right.
You find that good bulletproof deal, that deal, as you're holding on to it, is going to continue to just get better and better. It will age like fine wine, so to speak. Interest rates will go down. You can do the cash out refinance, all those things we've talked about before. It was just someone who had $25 billion of assets under management, just saying, reinforcing what we know, which was awesome.
Yeah. 20, 30 years of that experience. He's been through them, seen them, and has the data to go over. So no, that was fantastic. Like you said, real estate is a constant appreciation. You don't see a house go up in value to, well, just ballpark 100,000, go down to 50,000, go back up to 100. It doesn't jump around like that, like the stock market will do. So this is just a constant, appreciation of your investment. So, I mean,
that's right.
Like you said, tried and true. He did it. 90,000 units, $25 billion. He's still going. So it's he wasn't. I was kind of looking for the message of him to say, "Oh, he was scared. They were selling off some or whatever." No, he wasn't.
Just looking to do more.
Yeah, looking to do more. So that was my number one takeaway. Hearing him speak and go over that was great.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, we'll keep this one short, and we'll do another one with you here then, just to keep going, because there's so much I want to still keep unraveling.
Absolutely.
But thanks again, as always, for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back for more content very soon. Till next time. Thank you. If you would like to connect, please head on over to mrtgcapital.com and request time to meet with us to answer any questions you may have about real estate investing through a syndication. We partner with small groups of investors just like you, and we're always reviewing deals that could be of interest to you.